Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to... Hey, I'm trying to record here. Do you mind? Like, come on. Jesus. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World. I hope you all enjoy this video. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 switch axes. Now, a lot of this is going to come down to personal playstyle, but I'm just going to provide you guys with my personal top 5 favorite switch axes. So if you guys have anything that you find should be in this list, or your favorite switch axe isn't on this list, let me know in the comments below, and maybe a build that you've got going with that as well, so that way anyone who views this can also see what you guys think is the best, because this really is a community effort and each person is going to have a different play style. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get into this, and we'll get into my list of top 5 switch axes. I almost called switchblades. But anyways, we'll go ahead and go into the forge equipment. No, we're going to upgrade equipment. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the one we've got equipped, the Hazak Demios II. I absolutely love this switch axe. You can get it up to the white level of sharpness very easily, and it comes with 700 base attack, no negative affinity. It does not have any positive affinity either, but it's still a very powerful dual blade with 210 dragon elements and average elder steel. Now, high elder steel would be really good versus Teostra, Deora, or Kirin, but for all intensive purposes, it's still a very, very good dual blade. It comes with the power element file, and it has 2 augmentation slots where you can either slot affinity or attack, or whatever you really desire. Now, to get the most out of the Hazak Demios II, you're going to really need to use Handicraft. You do not need 4 levels of Handicraft on this. I was actually just messing around with Handicraft on all of them to see which ones I could get to the white level of sharpness, but 2 or 3 levels will get you into the white level of sharpness, and then Protective Polish is really going to make this weapon shine. Pun somewhat intended, I suppose, because it'll allow you to keep that white level of sharpness for up to a minute after sharpening without losing any sharpness. So that's a lot of sharpness in one sentence, and let's go ahead and get into some gameplay with it. So for each of these weapons in the list, we're going to do the same combo, so that way you guys can get a general idea of the damage difference for each of these weapons. And as you can see, the Hazak Demios does quite a bit of damage, and I absolutely love this weapon. Next on the list is the Barroth Grinder III. This is a rarity 6 weapon from the Barroth tree. It comes with 735 base attack. There is no good way to get this all the way up to the white level of sharpness. It does come with negative 20% affinity, so that is a little bit of a downside, but we've got a couple positives here. It comes with 2 good gem slots. We got a 2-slot gem slot and a 1 slot, which is very nice, plus 15 defense. And then we've also got the paralysis file. So we could run this in 2 ways. We could run this as an elementless build, which will give us a really big boost in damage, and then we'll also get the paralysis effect while we're fighting with it, which is very good. We've got 3 augmentation slots, which we can use to get rid of the affinity and boost the, or get rid of the negative affinity and boost the base attack. So all in all, this is a very good weapon, especially if you're running a paralysis build. You can unlock the 300 element paralysis and just completely wreck face with this thing and just paralyze everything, or you can go for the dual elementless and have the file type for paralysis, which is pretty amazing. For augmenting, you can see that we get a substantial attack increase for each level we put into it, and affinity we always get negative 10. So I would probably, maybe if I was going to use this, maybe do 1 affinity and 2 levels of attack. It's really up to you how you want to slot this out for your augments, and it can become a very, very good weapon. Not only does this weapon have the paralysis effect, but it also does a very decent amount of damage. I really like using this, and it's a blast to be able to use and paralyze things and then just completely wreck their face. Next on the list, we've got the Motor Chopper 2. which is a rarity 7 weapon from the Urgan tree. And you can see that it's got 735 attack. You cannot get this up to the white level of sharpness, but on this one we have no negative affinity, and we have 120 fire elemental damage. We also get plus 30 defense with this, 1 gem slot, and this is a power file type weapon, which a lot of people really like. And this is probably one of my favorite switch axes to use, aside from maybe the Hazak one. And we have 2 augmentation slots on here as well. So this is a very versatile switch axe that we can use. Now for our augmentations, you can see here that we get a good increase in damage as well. Let's go up to 753 just like the previous one. And we can also boost some affinity in here if you really want to run a high crit build with this. Now with some proper gear, this weapon can really pump out some amazing damage. This is by far one of my favorite switch axes, and it'll probably be one of my go-tos. Now next up we have maybe everyone's favorite, the Axe of Demons. This is a rarity 8 weapon from the Diablos tree with a base attack of 805. And as you can see, with 4 handicraft gems, we can get this up to the white level of sharpness with just a sliver. Unfortunately, it does have negative 30% affinity. We do have plus 15 defense bonus, and the power type is a power file, and we have 1 augmentation slot. Now with an attack augmentation, you could get this up to 823 base attack, but with this particular weapon, I would definitely go with the affinity increase because you really don't want that much negative affinity. But you can really make a good build with this to get rid of most of the negative affinity. Now with the white level of sharpness, there really isn't a good way to get the white level of sharpness on this and get rid of the affinity. So you're really going to have to pick which one, and I would probably highly recommend getting rid of the affinity than really trying to get the white level of sharpness, unless you have a bunch of handicraft gems and can figure it out. Now to get the most out of the Axe of Demons, you're going to need to have an Elementless Jewel again, or a way to unlock the extra damage when using an Elementless weapon. You're really not going to want to unlock the element. You're going to want to boost it with the Elementless gem or some other way. So just keep that in mind. Now, out of all of the weapons we're showing off in this video, this is the most powerful, and this will be a very good weapon to use on pretty much everything except maybe possibly Teostra, Kirin, and Deora. You're probably going to want to use a high Elder Steel weapon against them. Now last but certainly not least is Dying Light, the rarity 8 switch axe from the Nergigante tree. This does have a very large level of blue sharpness, 0% affinity, 150 dragon elemental damage with high Elder Steel, and a power file type with 1 augmentation. Now unfortunately, I do not have this weapon crafted to be able to show it off. It'll have around the same damage as the Hazak weapon, but a little bit more once the power file is actually activated. It'll be doing some more damage at that point. We do have only 1 augmentation slot on here, so you can increase damage or affinity if you so desire. And this is a very, very good weapon. I've seen a few people use it, and I've seen how much damage it can pump out, and it's definitely on the top 5 list. So I do want to point out that all of these weapons were recorded using absolutely no food buffs or any other type of buff, just using the standard equipment set that I have for each one. So I really wanted to give a baseline damage so that way you guys could get a pretty even scenario for each weapon. Obviously, if we were using an Elementalist weapon, we were using the Elementalist gem with that, but otherwise they were as close as humanly possible. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I'm sure some of you have some other switch axes that you would have loved to see in this video, and there are plenty of amazing switch axes to choose from. You really can't go wrong with whatever you decide to use. But this is my personal top 5 favorites. So let me know in the comments below if you guys have any switch axes that you would have loved to see in the video. Maybe also post the build that you're using with that switch axe as well. That way, any of the viewers reading the comments can kind of get an understanding of why you picked that weapon and maybe be able to try out the builds for themselves. And that's something I really want to go with because, you know, there's so many different ways to play this game. I can't tell you which is the best, but I can say my personal favorites, and there are just so many different ways to play each weapon type. It's really fun to actually get input from the community, and I really want to actually start doing something on the channel, maybe once a week doing a viewer build video where I go through the comments and look at some of your guys' builds or some of those that you've sent me in Discord, and then I'll make a video about that and we'll test it out, and that way more people can get pretty much access to different types of builds. I think it would be a lot of fun. It'll bring the community together, and it's just a really fun thing to do, I think. So let me know if you guys want to see that on the channel, and if you have any builds, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or feel free to send me a message on Discord. But I hope you guys all enjoyed it. That is my top 5 favorite Switch Axe list. If you guys want to see more Monster Hunter videos, don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, don't forget to share your support and smash that like button. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!